Welcome in to the Week 12 edition of the Consistently Cashin podcast here at BigGuyFantasySports.com. I'm Colby Conway. Find me on X over at Colby R. Conway. And with me here, stepping in for Ron Rigney this week. He's on a bye for, I guess he got a Week 12 bye. He's one of the, what feels like 13 teams in the NFL that have a bye this week. But stepping in, Bob Lung, not on bye week, actually playing in Week 12. So, Bob, how's everything going for you?
Doing good. Always here, tough it out, fill in, because you guys fill in for me whenever I have to bail some weeks. And that's why we make a great three-person team, because we always have two that are usually available. So that's a good thing. So great. Always excited to be here. Always love doing some DFS. Don't do it often. Usually just do it when you guys are cranking it. Usually I just play your guys' wing one every week. So let's win some money.
Absolutely. That is the plan here. And I'll be on bye next week. So it'll be Bob and Ron in week 13. That's my bye week. So I'm
There you go.
looking forward to the rest. I can use a reset, honestly, just with some props that I've missed on that I haven't particularly enjoyed. And then DFS has been a little slow these last couple of weeks, but let's get out of this with a clutch game here for us with our lineups. And let's head right over to the quarterback position. I can't tell you, this is going to be really blunt, but I'm just going to be honest. I can't tell you how disgusted I am that the two highest priced quarterbacks on the slate are a banged up Jaden Daniels and Patrick Mahomes, who feels like he hasn't been a QB1 in like 12 weeks, maybe even going back to last year. So what do you think at quarterback here? Because yes, we see the green, meaning it's a good matchup, but I'm not comfortable with Jaden Daniels right now. I want nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes. You talked about it on the Prop It Like It's Hot podcast. People should go check it out. But that weather in Green Bay is going to suck. And Brock Purdy's probably not playing. So how much is expected of Jordan Love? What do we make of this QB position? Who's a guy that you maybe settled in on a little bit? Or guys that you'd at least be interested in?
Well, so I have kind of a little man crush this year on Bo Nix. I've actually been using him quite a bit. I actually have him as my starter most weeks in my Kings Classic team, because my other guys are Stafford and Sam Darnold, because I forget if I just didn't get a good quarterback or whatever happened. But so, I've had him in, he, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he just play Las Vegas a few weeks ago in Denver and lit them up, if I'm not mistaken? Is that the game he had the 4 touchdowns?
No, that was last week against Atlanta. But in this one, he had 206 and 2 scores, but he did have 9 with a rushing touchdown, 23.1 points last time he faced Vegas. And that is his third most in a game this year.
Yeah. So, he's only 6,300. Yeah. Once you go below that, Baker's been good, but then the Giants, it's outside. It's not great weather. All that's going across. But Mike Evans is back, so maybe he gets back into form. You've got Tua at home against New England, so that's not terrible, and that saves you $500. Oh, Daniel Jones. Oh, never mind. Oh, that's all right. Forget it. But Anthony Richardson's at home against Detroit, which could be a shootout. He had a great week last week. Maybe he continues that. So I think there's options. It's just a question of, where do you put the risk? Do you save more money? I don't feel like spending up is the answer. Mm-hmm. I mean, even Bo Nix might even be a little pricey when you compare to the people below him. Heck, Geno Smith, going against Arizona may not. Where the heck is Geno Smith listed at? Oh, there he is. Oh, 5,700. So I think there's options. It's just a question of who do you want to take the chance with?
I think if you pay up, it's Bo Nix or Kyler Murray. I don't think we need to go above that. Vegas has allowed the 4th most fantasy points per game over the last 4 weeks, and Bo Nix already beat them once. The one trait or the one calling card I'll say with Kyler Murray this week is I like a lot of points to be scored in that Seattle game too. Mm-hmm. And I can stack him with one of my favorite wide receivers of the week. Whereas with Denver, he just, to his credit, in reality, it's very good. He spreads it out. But even his target hog in Cortland Sutton is still basically like 5 to 6 receptions. So
I got you.
You probably have to play Bo Nix naked. You can't stack anybody with them. So I like Kyler. Anthony Richardson's another one. I love Richardson going up against that man-heavy defense for Detroit, because all they need to do is turn their back with the receiver and let Anthony run. So
yeah.
I like him. Let me just ask you point blank, because I can make a case for this. But if you give me a firm no right from the start, then I won't go into it. I won't go any further.
Okay.
What about Tommy DeVito?
Oh, okay.
$4,000, dirt cheap, going up against a Tampa Bay defense that's allowed the most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks and the most for the entire year. Now, Malik Neighbors didn't practice on Friday, so status is up in the air there. But for $4,000, we really only need like 12 fantasy points from DeVito. Could I potentially sway you to consider Tommy DeVito? It doesn't mean we'll actually play him.
Yeah.
At least
Could you persuade me? Sure. I mean, again, because we're focusing on cash games, it's a little, you do look at it differently versus like if this was a GPP, it's like, oh yeah. But then a lot of people probably have the same thought process. But yeah, the only thing that scares me a little bit is there is a chance of rain. It's not heavy, but there is 15-mile-an-hour winds for that game. That could make it tough. But it also could mean a lot of short passes like Malik Neighbors, Theo Johnson out of the backfield, and it still could equate to a lot of positive points. And like you said, at that rate, he only needs 12. It may be worth pivoting to if we go, crazy on the wide receivers, which is our plan today. I'd be interested. Sure.
Let's head over to the running back spot then. Christian McCaffrey without Brock Purdy. Joe Mixon against a tough Tennessee run defense. We do have Devon Achane. Can Jahmyr Gibbs continue his dominance over AFC South opponents? I will tell you there are some interesting options if you're going to pay up at running back, but we've kind of tipped our cap that we're probably going to be spending up at wide receiver. So I'm not going to bury the lead. I want to get out in front of this. In a perfect world, in no alternate reality, in no circumstance, do I envision myself having other running backs in a cash game build other than these two guys right here in Kareem Hunt and Brian Robinson Jr.
Can't argue a single bit with you.
Workhorse backs, cheap, and especially with Pacheco being ruled out, there is no reason for Kansas City to not give Kareem Hunt the ball 20 times.
Yeah.
They're going to win. They're going to be leading. Carolina is arguably the worst run defense in the league. Over the last 4 weeks, they've allowed the 4th most fantasy points per game to running backs. And for the entire year, the first most. The first most.
First, I'm good. Yeah.
The most. They've allowed the most, so they rank first. And
I got you.
14 rushing touchdowns allowed and 2 receiving touchdowns. So Kareem Hunt, Brian Robinson Jr. So if we remove those two, anybody else that you could make a case for at running back this week, or at least guys that you just find interesting?
I mean, guys that I find interesting. One is Audric Estime playing against the Raiders. He's only $4,700. That could be if they jump out to a quick lead, which certainly is possible. I could see Audric Estime, getting 10, 15 carries could be beneficial, might get a touchdown or so. He certainly has some low dollars. And on the other side of that coin, Dylan Labe, or however you pronounce his name, he's only $4,000. He is now supposed to be the starter for the Raiders this week. So possible too.
Yep. And I think let me ask you this. If you are going to pay up, let's say Jonathan, let's not do that. Let's say David Montgomery and up, which running back would you pay for?
I honestly probably would lean towards Kenneth Walker, playing at home in Seattle against Arizona. He's more of the workhorse. Taylor is a workhorse, but Detroit does have a pretty decent defensive line against the run. That would be the guy I would probably lean towards because McCaffrey's there, but $8,500, and Green Bay is going to be stacking the box if they've got Brandon Allen quarterbacking. So if I would lean toward one, I think Kenneth Walker might be my guy.
I'm in agreement. And if it's not him, it's Devon Achane. Let's head over to wide receiver. We're spending up here, so we don't even need to scroll too far down, but I will just hit a couple if you are not as inclined as we are to pay up. I really like Josh Downs at 6,200. Marvin Harrison is my favorite wide receiver overall at 6,100. If you need to save more money, Wan'Dale Robinson at 5,200 is a guy that I'd be putting into a ton of lineups this week. Great matchup against Tampa Bay. I think Xavier Worthy is interesting, more GBP than cash game. Rome Odunze is my preferred Chicago receiver. He is way too cheap at 4,800, and he was used in a very exciting way last week. So I think you can look to Rome Odunze. And if you go down a little bit more here, probably don't need to do too much down in here. Noah Brown as well at 4,200, and Devon Valet are some cheap guys that I would consider. But Bob, we have a champagne taste at wide receiver. So let's talk about some guys that cost us a little bit more money that we are going to be looking to put in this lineup.
Another one could move a little farther down too that you might be interested in, again, to fill in a gap. Maybe it's a flex spot at the end here, is Calvin Ridley at only 5,700 as well. Going against Houston. Well, but you said the guys were coming back this week, so maybe not so much. JSN is a good one. Like you said, Josh Downs. I feel like Tyreek needs to have a breakout game. This could be the week finally. Neighbors going against Tampa, but with Tommy DeVito, which we talked about. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's certainly up there, but he's the highest price. Mike Evans coming back. McLaurin against Dallas, DK Metcalf, those kind of folks. I mean, there's just so many options that it's kind of hard to pick, really.
We'll have enough money, so don't you worry. We won't have
You worry.
You won't have to have too many big concerns there at wide receiver. We'll have plenty of money for it. So tight end, I will never fault anybody for playing Brock Bowers or Trey McBride on any given week. So you can obviously look to them. The one I personally keep coming to here, just because I want money for receivers, Jake Ferguson is not going to play. I don't think he's officially been ruled out yet, but he didn't practice on Thursday due to concussion. I don't think that gives him enough time to clear protocol. So look at Luke Schoonmaker, who did get 10 targets in that game against Houston, and Cooper Rush is under center again. He's going to probably throw the ball. I don't know. What do you think? 44 times at least? So Luke Schoonmaker saves you a lot of money. I expect him to be very, very, very highly owned in cash games. Any other tight ends worth mentioning for you?
I mean, it's, the guy that everybody kind of forgets about that's back playing again is TJ Hawkinson. Only $4,200. It's going to be outside in bad weather or not great weather in Chicago. Typical NFC North kind of battle. I could see him having 6 catches, 70 yards, touchdown kind of game against that Bears defense.
Yep, I like that.
Yeah, good corners, but struggle against the tight end.
Yep, strength is with the corners. That is for sure. If we head over to defense, Chiefs very good against Carolina. Obviously, not really looking at the Lions. Obviously, Will Levis has been great to opposing defenses this year, so you can definitely look to Houston. Packers are going to be interesting and probably very chalky if Brock Purdy, or at this point, it's probably when Brock Purdy is ruled out, because I don't believe he practiced at all on Friday, so you could look to him. I also like the Bears. Sam Darnold started to take a couple steps back. They have a ton of talent, but maybe Sam Darnold can throw that defense a bone or two. And then the other one I really like is the defense for your man crush, Bo Nix. I really like this Broncos defense.
Oh, the Broncos against the Raiders.
How many points do you think they had against Vegas the first time they played?
I think it was like 34-10.
34-18, and they had 16 points thanks to a defensive touchdown. So I could see them doing it again, to be honest. 3 sacks and 3 interceptions in that game. So very talented Denver defense. Those are the ones I'm primarily looking at. Any others that you would mention? Maybe Tampa Bay against DeVito?
Yeah, I love those. I mean, other ones could be, Tampa Bay's not a great defense, but, it is Tommy Cutlett's first game. Might be a little rusty. High winds, could throw the ball off. Never know. Also, the Dolphins at home against Drake May. He hasn't been too bad, but, goes down to, he might fall apart in warm weather. He's not a warm weather player. I don't know. From New England, so we'll see. But, any of those where you've got young quarterbacks having to make quick decisions, and, if Miami jumps off to a big lead in that game against New England, forces Drake May to throw, could be an ugly day. So you never know.
Absolutely. And let's go ahead. Let's build this lineup. You get one player that you want to lock in. No questions asked. He is in there. Who is it for you? And don't feel like you have to use Kareem Hunt or Brian Robinson because we both agree on those.
We already know that
those
one,
guys
right?
anyway. So besides those two, who do you want?
Who do I want for sure? Boy, that's good. That's good. I think it's got to be. I think it's got to be Brock Bowers. I mean, we've got the cash. This guy's getting what, 15 targets a game. You know that. I mean, it just seems like Uncle Rico. That's all he wants to do is throw the ball to Brock Bowers. So, yeah.
Fair enough. I'm locking in Marvin Harrison. I said he's my guy. So, wide receiver here. We still have 2 more spots that we want to fill. Do you want to look at Josh Downs? Detroit's been very generous to slot receivers all year, so I do like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're the guy that knows those matchups so well. So I'll let you go pick the champagne.
All right, we'll go with Josh Downs, and then I would love if we could maybe get in Amon-Ra, but we'll see if we can do that. Okay. Quarterback, I don't think we have to do Anthony Richardson just because we have Josh Downs, so I think we could do Kyler. Or do you want to go with Bo Nix? I'm thinking Bo Nix, Kyler, or Anthony Richardson. Those are the 3 I'll let you choose from.
I think. Well, I tell you what. Let's put in those 2. You already got the 2 running backs in. All right, never mind. Yep. I didn't put them in. So I was like, oh,
no, they're in there.
Okay, so Hunt, Robinson. Okay. Oh shoot, I hit Eckler by mistake. Robinson. Okay, so we've got some cash there. So,
and we could even go Schoonmaker in the flex at 2,500 because we're gonna have enough money. We're gonna have enough money.
All right, so yeah, let's definitely do that. Let's get the Schoon. Why can't I find this dude? Oh, there he is. Okay, 2,500 flex. So we got all kinds of cash available. So
if my quick math is right, I'm pretty sure you can pick your quarterback. We can get Amon-Ra and then do a lower level defense and just be under the cap, I think. Okay. My quick maths.
So there were at 30. Oh yeah, we can get. Yeah, in fact, we can go Broncos and still have $500 left.
So if we go Amon-Ra, do we want to go Denver though with having Bowers? I mean, there's probably enough to go around.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Bowers is still going to get his 15 to 20 points, and that's not, and at some point they're going to have to throw other than that.
So if we go Kareem Hunt, Brian Robinson Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., Josh Downs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brock Bowers, Luke Schoonmaker, we could do Anthony Richardson and Texans defense, or we could do Bo Nix / Kyler Murray and Packers defense. Or Bears defense, whatever we kind of want to choose for that defense. So ultimately, we have options here. We can pay up and get the Houston defense, but then upgrade Anthony Richardson to Bo Nix or Kyler Murray, or take the Texans defense, shoot for the upside at the defense spot, and then have Anthony Richardson and his upside at the quarterback spot.
So I have the Texans defense in with all the rest of the players, and we only have $100 left with Richardson in and the Texans in.
Yep. And then that's it.
Yeah.
So if it basically comes down to, do you want Richardson Texans or Kyler / Bo and like Bears?
I mean, I don't hate Kyler. I
mean, I don't hate Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I mean,
and I love.
I feel like
this week.
Maybe we should just play both. We'll just build 2 lineups. This one, and then your other one is
the other one. I mean, yeah, you could
Kyler and the Broncos.
We'll call this our lineup, but if you want the variant of it, swap the Texans down for either the Packers defense if Purdy gets ruled out, or you can roll the Bears and just be fine with them against Minnesota, and then up your quarterback to Nix or Kyler, whatever you want. But the one we're going to go with here, Anthony Richardson, Kareem Hunt, Brian Robinson Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., Josh Downs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brock Bowers, Luke Schoonmaker, #2 tight ends, and #Will Levis or #attacking Will Levis with the Houston Texans defense. So that'll be the Week 12 consistently cash and lineup. Bob, let everyone know where they can find you here at BigGuyFantasySports.com.
Check everything out. Of course, all kinds of great stuff. Ron and I with our show on Thursday telling you about some of the hot players and some of the cold players from a consistency standpoint, as well as just give you an update on who some of the top most consistent players are. Of course, the Prop It Like It's Hot, both article and podcast will be up as well today. Once you see this, you'll see the others. So definitely check that out. And of course, you can find me on Twitter at Bob_Lung. So thanks again.
And I'm at Colby R. Conway over on X. Find some of my work here at BigGuyFantasySports.com. Best of luck with your Week 12 lineups, and we will see you for the next edition of the Consistently Cashin in Week 13. So best of luck, and we'll see you in a week.